Hello, everybody. We're here for Tuesday Talks. Now, Tuesday Talks is all about getting to know an individual and finding out what makes them tick. What do they care about? How their career reflects that, and what motivates them to keep going. Now, today we have an amazing soul called Freeman Fung. Freeman is a true believer in the power of mind. He's on a mission to awaken more world citizens. He's a fellow coach. He is a fellow musician, entrepreneur. So let's get Freeman on and hear all his journey. Hello, Freeman.
Hello, hey Susan. How are
Thank you
you
very
doing?
much for coming on. Thank you very much for coming on to Tuesday Talks. It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
I've done a short introduction for you already, but in true Tuesday Talk styles, and this is the first episode to kick off the year with. What an amazing episode this is going to be then. Let us know, to the audience who you are, what you do, and the biggest question that everybody has on the Tuesday Talks is, why do you do it, Freeman?
Mm, Great question. So my name is Freeman. I'm a global citizen. And what that means is I truly believe we are all equal and we will all hold equal power to change the world. And by day, I'm an international marketing manager in a multinational corporations in the tourism industry. And by night, I'm a certified life coach. And what I've been doing so far with my journey is I'm on a mission to awaken more global citizens. And I truly believe it doesn't matter what our skin colors is, it doesn't matter what our eye color is, it doesn't matter what our cultural background, finance background, or educational background. You and I are no different because we are all just human beings on this world. And that has been a real liberating idea for me, which I have also spoken about on a TED Talk as well when I was 22. And also recently, I just published my first book, Travel to Transform, as well, which is advocating this new perspective to see global citizenships. And to answer your question, how do I get here and why I'm so passionate about doing what I am? So basically, I'm born and raised in Hong Kong for my first 19 years of my life. And I've never been the smarter kids. And, I never good at mathematics, I never really good at any Asian stereotype. We all have from an Asian male. And I struggle in life a lot. When I grew up, I live in a family of four, and I just found life no meaning at all, because it was a very, very competitive environment. Oh, which by the way, that was a live storm over here in Sydney.
Yeah,
I think it's
I
like
saw the lightning in the head as
spurring,
well.
right?
Yeah.
It's a lightning spurring our conversation here, giving us the inspiration. Uh, but when I was back in Hong Kong, I was, just an ordinary kid. I never thought about traveling out of my own country. I never thought about doing anything big in my life. And I, didn't know what my purpose is. I'm just another cog in the big machine, as I always say. And, I found no purpose. I just don't know why I'm here. And, no one really can give me the answer. I saw the society give me the values of, just study hard, get your certification, get into university, and do all the things, climbing the ladder, get a job, get a promotion, get a car, get a house, get a family, and all sort of things that I saw it just repeat through the cycles of life in the modern society, which doesn't give me joy. So it was about the university time when I was really, really random. People always thought I was crazy, but I first started traveling solo at that time. And I went all the way to Romania and lived
Wow.
there for a whole summer. And most people thought I was crazy. Like, I was probably one of the very few Asians living in the whole Transylvania state, where the Dracula is, the world famous
Mm.
Dracula is. And that turned out to become the best summer of my life. And it shifted my whole paradigm. It shifted my mindset. So what I was doing there was I was joining ISET. Some of you your audience may know, it's an international exchange platform
Hmm.
where we do volunteer work. And I was involved in a volunteer project and for tourism. And then I was living in a dorm with 40 international people from 16 different countries. So that opened my mind really a lot. I finally realized the power of diversity, because we don't come to this world to be the same as others, but we are actually so unique that we all come here with a different purpose. And, again, our skin color, our cultural background, our story brings us to who we are today. And every decision we make in life leads to what we are doing right now. And I think all those kind of a little bit of cultural shocks for me and awakening lead me to want to travel more. I eager more, because that's the first time I traveled solo outside my Hong Kong bubble, and I got to see the world and meet so many amazing people. Then I crave for more. So that's the start of my traveling journey. And then I went to UK to study in Oxford for my academic exchange, and I went back to Hong Kong, did my dissertation about tourism and world peace. And then, I really want to backpack back in Europe again. So I went all the way to study my master's in London, and start having, all my backpack journey as well, all around in Poland, Netherlands, in Central Europe as well, and Northern Europe, which I wrote a lot about in my book as well, and the lessons I experienced in every country. And fast forwarding, today now I'm in Sydney. I've been relocating for 4 or 5 different countries, and I've traveled with my company for over 20 countries, and then now I'm around 34 countries year to date, and still counting. Wow. And I just love this lifestyle, and it become my mission now. Not just to looking amazing on social media for myself, traveling all this amazing place, but actually we all are able to inspire one another, because we are global citizens, right? We are all equal citizens of the world. And I just realized travel is actually the ultimate self-growth tool to help us become a better version of ourselves. And that has been my mission, to help awakening more other global citizens as well, to see that their life purpose actually doesn't limited by their local cultures, doesn't limited by their local society, and doesn't limited by all the education, traditional education things that taught us that we have to climb that ladder. There's only one way to be successful, and we need to find that money. But there are so many more aspects in life that give us the joy, give us the fulfillment, and make us connect with way more other global citizens in the world. And that's where the human consciousness comes in. And that's where I become so passionate about sending this message, and just simply share with one another that you and I are no different, and we can all thrive in this world. Oh, wow. And as soon as I say that, I was like closing down a little bit, and then that thunder comes in.
Should I say Thor agrees, yeah? So I love this. I love this story, and your journey is so amazing. And I can see so many pivotal moments in that journey, in terms of traveling solo. Traveling solo obviously is a big challenge for a lot of people, right? Because a lot of people, when they talk about traveling solo, also means they're having their first time away from family, because maybe they've been used to just going on vacations or holidays just with family members or friends, right? So now you are doing that by yourself, which then is different, because now you have to make all the decisions of how that should plan out for you, that journey, how what you're gonna do, what excursions you're gonna take, how you're gonna walk around, what time you want to wake up, because you're not part of a group anymore, right? So who was leading? Maybe one person decides to organize everything, and then we tag along, right? And so that's the biggest challenge that everybody thinks of as well. And also being alone means that you are also targeted in certain places, as you said, culture shock. So you're like, oh, I don't know if I can say this, or am I in the wrong place? Maybe maybe my wallet will get stolen, maybe I'll get beaten up, or I don't know. There's so many things that people think of. That's true. Those things can happen. But and I love that that you're also part of the mindset. You did touch upon it, that those things very, very unlikely to happen as well, as we are part of a global citizens, and as you said, right? And if you try to immerse yourself into that culture where you are, right, where you visiting, understand why people are doing certain things, to what's the reason behind it,
Yeah. Yeah,
you'll
exactly.
love the journey, you'll enjoy it, and you get along with it. So question I wanted to ask you was, if you can take us through your very first pivotal journey, because you said you went to Romania there, and got a culture shock, and so what was the pivotal moment that is still ingrained in your mind, and thinking, which I would say started all this for you? You're like, yeah, this is because in the beginning you also mentioned, you were looking for that purpose, and I believe
Yeah.
it was in Romania. I can hear it. It's in Romania that pivoted you to that purpose.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Romania definitely the place. And I think the pivotal moment is what we call the global village. So what happened when I was in Romania in that volunteer project is that there was a day where we organized this event called the Global Village in Timișoara, which is a very small town in Transylvania. But the beautiful thing is that because, as I mentioned, we have 40 international from 16 different countries. So what we did is literally on that day, every country we have our own booth. And I never did it before. It's the first time I experienced it as well. I was young. I didn't know what happened. I'm in a foreign country. I just did whatever the team says. And the funny thing is like that is actually the most pivotal and also most inspiring moment for me that really makes me think throughout the rest of my trip as well when I go backpacking. Because what happened on that day is essentially people who are interested to talk to you, they will just come into person to your booth, and then you exchange in firsthand. And that beautiful cultural exchange is nothing like you can read something about the country on Wikipedia. It's nothing like you can read any cultural textbook to understand another human being. And on that day, we have Greeks, we would do face paint for you, and you can play soccer with Brazilians. You can try Croatian snacks as well. And there are all sort of different beautiful countries and colors in that square with the local people. And we all genuinely just talk to each other because we believe there's something more than our own local identity. And we transcend ourselves to become the global citizen on that day. And I think that day is, I was young, I didn't know how beautiful this was. I was still confused. I was still thinking, oh, my English is not good enough to communicate, like all those fear, like you said, right? If somebody is going to steal my wallet, all those sort of things still happen in our thoughts, in our head. But at the same time, right, that experience is something so genuinely beautiful because we really eliminate stereotype from one another. Right. Before I went to Romania, it was so funny because people told me, "Oh, you have to stay out from the guys because the guys would chop off your head and drink the blood from the skull," which is the story from Dracula back in the days. The Vladimir the Dracula, one of the heroes slash king back in the Ottoman Empire. And then they say, "Oh, stay away from the women as well because they're prostitute, it's dangerous, stay away from them." And then people say, "Oh, stay away from the children as well, because they are gypsies, they're going to steal your wallet." And before I went there, like everyone in Asia told me all this thing. I was like, oh, so I stay away from everyone. And only until I was living there, right, and I really live in the culture of the people, and waking up and sleeping in the same place as them. And then I learned that they would have this stereotype because back in the day Dracula did chop off people and then he drank blood from the skull because he was like trying to use that as a war tactic, right, to divert people, his enemy, from the country. And women are said, Eastern Europeans women, they are prostitute because so many of them are actually miserably getting human trafficking to red light district in Western country. And this is actually such a sad story. We need to raise awareness of that. And gypsy as well, like children, they are mistaken as gypsy, but actually gypsies are not even from Romania. They are another type of people called Romani. And people thought, oh, they are gypsies. And And all this stereotype, like, if I weren't living in a country by myself to really have this first-hand exchange and talk to the people, like I would never be able to break that. And I realized that is so valuable because the same is also true the other way around. People would thought I'm a Hong Kongese, also it's the same as Chinese, which, we grown, Hong Kong is a skyscraper city, it's a mix of Western Asian culture. We are trilingual as well. We speak English, and, Cantonese is our native language, and we are all need to learn Mandarin as well as part of our education. And, we use Facebook as well. We have English name, like it's a whole different culture. So when we are experience all this cultural exchange, when I'm not in a bubble anymore with my friends or with my family, when I'm traveling, all this paradigm shift, right? And that pivot moment, it's like a seed ingrained in my head in that younger version of me back 10 years ago. It sounds such a far away thing. and that seed, right, is what it grows me into the citizen of the world today. Because when I realized, when my mindset shift into a global mindset, to understand that what I've been trying to do in my life as a local Hong Kongese, why I'm struggling in the education system, why I'm struggling in that rat race, why I'm struggling to find my purpose, it's because we're trying to find a local solution to solve the global problem, right? If you think about it, the shirt we're wearing, the chair we're sitting, the place we're living in, they are all globalized. They are all made in different part of the world. The phone that we're using right now, right? No matter you're using iPhone or Android, it assembled in a different place and then designed in Silicon Valley maybe. And, it's also of different parts. And from that perspective, right, we are living in such a globalized world. But what we have been taught by our school system, by societies, by our friends and families around us, most of the time, is to find that local solution, right? To climb the same linear ladder that the generation have been climbing on, right? And that's why most people get stuck in life, and I was one of those, right? The reason we are stuck in life is because we try to use a local solution to solve the global problem. And by global problem, it doesn't necessarily mean, all the poverty, global justice, universal human rights, right? You can mean your personal lives, but looking it at a world-centric level, right? Because we are living in a modern world. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually love that. I know, because it's a perspective that nobody uses, right? So that especially when everybody's saying, what is my purpose and what am I looking for? What am I here to do? And what you are doing is you're looking in the box you are in at the moment, right? So in that box, that's the reason you don't have the purpose or something that you're looking for, whatever that is that you're looking for, right? Because it doesn't exist in that box. So which means you need to take yourself out of that box and then look for it still. That means your professional vision, your vision needs to expand in terms of, right, what is happening out there in the world, and then go around, visit. And I love it. I love the concept of the backpacking. Obviously, not everybody in the world does it. Backpacking, obviously, from my point of view, is quite famous for Australians, because when in Europe we talk about backpacking, always an Aussie person will come to mind, right? Again, stereotyping it, right? So for me, when people say, "Oh, I'm backpacking around the world," or I've been with some friends who are backpacking, I will think, "Oh, he's backpacking with some Aussie friends of his," right? Now they met, and I've met in my time that there was quite a few of backpackers who were Aussie and from New Zealand. So those kind, and what they had told me that time was they get the opportunity just before, I think it's just before the last year of uni or before they start uni, 1 year out to go and travel the world. And that's why you find a lot of backpackers from Australia, New Zealand are traveling around the world. It could be the fact that they're right so corner of the universe, right? 11 hours difference from the rest of the world. So then they get the chance to now go explore and be the global citizen that they can be, right? And by the time they come back, they have a wider, bigger vision of just being in one place, and whatever that place was offering you, right? So
Exactly.
if you are in one place, everything is limited for you, right? It's not unlimited, right? So the only way you can have unlimited options is to expand yourself and put yourself in other positions, right? And go out there. And I
Yeah.
love that story of yours
Yeah.
that's leading up to that, right? So whilst you were
Yeah.
doing all these things, right, the question would be in terms of balance, right? So how I know now you're part of the biohackers as well, which you look after your health, and it wasn't like that one time, right? So
Mm.
how was that shift for you, right? So to become a bit more conscious about your health and food. I know you've changed your dietary requirements, right? You're not the one you used to be before. So take us through
Yeah.
that journey. How was that? What led you to do that for yourself as well?
Yeah, beautiful question. And I think most audience, when they listen to you about health and well-being, right? It's like, oh, how is that even related to traveling? Like, how is that even related to, the global citizen journey you're crafting? And I deliberated include that as one of my key chapter as well. In the last session, which is traveling to the depth of our audience spirit. And it's such an essential journey for me because I never thought about health and well-being at all. And like growing up in Hong Kong, I eat the most unhealthy food you could ever imagine. Instant noodle every day, every night actually, snacking before night, all the MSG, all kind of chili sauce, whatever Asian cuisine, like all the stuff, I've tried it. And like for me, I thought, oh, we only live once, we may as well try everything. And that has been, kind of my principle, right? Because I'm free to try everything, right? Unconsciously, that never know about that is actually putting a toll on my body. So that, Romania, that was 10 years ago. And then, actually what happened afterwards when I was in the UK, as I mentioned, I was studying there and then I start working in the UK and then I actually start DJing as well. So, back in the UK, I think around 5-6 years ago, I was DJing in Ministry of Sound. I did a tour in Ibiza as well, in the 24/7 party island. And it was
Nice.
amazing. I have all the energy. I had all the energy to do it. And like I feel like I was young. I can do this. By day I'm marketing. I'm a marketeer in the multinational office, and then by night I'm DJing, and then Monday I don't need to sleep, and I go into the office, still nail my presentation. So I came from a state like that, and now I still keep traveling. So in the 8 years before COVID-19, the pandemic happened, I actually never stayed in the same country for over
Mm.
a year. So that was kind of my lifestyle. And I love it. Like I could still, keep moving and relocating, seeing new places, living in new continents, and I had all the energy to do that. And then things start becoming a little bit different when I was in Singapore, which is around 3 years ago. So I was in Singapore. I was living in the Interlace condo. It's one of the world famous architecture condo. For those who are interested, there's even a TED talk about it. It tells about how we can reconstruct our architecture to make our human living different in the future. It's a fascinating talk. But without dragging too far, I was living in a penthouse there with a lot of amazing global citizens. We have our private rooftop, a big pool as well, and then night party every week. And there was a day when I was in Singapore, I woke up and then, I was just as normal. I put on my shirt, my work clothes and get my bag and, start to go to work. But then when I was at the gate, when I was walking down the gate and then go through all the sky garden, it's a beautiful blue sky. And then I start realizing the whole queue. So I was at the shuttle bus, waiting to go to work. And I realized the whole queue, they are full of domestic helpers and kids rather than the usual people in suits or the
Mm.
head fund manager and other, like expats. And then I was like, oh, what's happening? And then I realized, oh, it's a Saturday today. I don't need to go to work. And that was the first moment that happened in my life that it was a surprise. And there was subsequently way more surprise. So I was walking down the streets and then I forgot like, oh, what was I doing here? I went to the grocery shopping and then I can't remember what's the one thing I needed to get. And then I start having sleeping issue as well. and I have insomnia, and then I went to the pharmaceutical industry to sort out my problem. I tried 8 different kind of sleeping pills, and then antidepressant drugs, and all different kind of pills that never solve the problem for me, and I only get worse and worse with my health. But at the same time, like you said, right, it's about the consciousness itself, because what else, what good it is to the world if a global citizen is sick and grumpy and angry all the time, right? And that is the realization I start understanding. Actually, our health and well-being do way more in our life than we originally thought or we get taught, right? And at that time, I start looking for alternative medicine. I try Chinese medicine as well. They do acupuncture, on me, and then I feel better. But the thing is, right, because we as modern citizens, we all have this mindset to wanted to have a quick fix. We all want to have a magical pill to solve our problem, right? Not just health, it could be our relationship, could be our job, could be our career,
Everything
finance,
pretty
we
much.
all want,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. We want that magic wand to help us to just have that best ideal things happen, right? And for me in this story is the health, right? And I still have that mindset. And then I was still actually drinking so much alcohol, and I'm DJing, I'm still skipping sleep. And then I went to Chinese medicine. Oh, help me do that. I drink some herbal medicine. It gets me a little bit better after. But then, I get sick again, right? So that pattern had been on and off. And then the final blow finally came because I never take good care of myself. And I still travel. And then it was a stressful time to move from Singapore to Sydney, where I am now. And I moved in December 2019. It was bushfire, Australian bushfire. So I came here, the whole sky was orange. And then I was having problem with breathing as well. And then soon, 3 months after, went into COVID first lockdown in Sydney. So my whole mental health just went down the drain. I was in a dark corner. I was living, now it looks back here, but when I first moved to Sydney, I was living in a tiny shoebox, literally. It was just a pull down bed, and then I work and eat and watch Netflix in the same table. And that was my life for the whole 6 months. And it has been such a damage to myself because I couldn't go out socialize. I don't have gigs to play anymore. And, I couldn't travel. And it, obviously from hindsight now, I can share the story. It was just a blessing in disguise, because in that dark corner, I finally have time to pause, right? I finally have time to pause to review the life that I have been going on. Because what happened is, out of that 8 years since Romania, I thought I was having an amazing journey, traveling around the world that, people saw on social media could only dream of. My peers back in Hong Kong would say, oh, that's amazing. I'm, all these little things, right, keep me going. And I never realized I was keep trying to chase the next success, right? The next promotion, right? I was always chasing after the next goal and the next goal. But wherever I go, the answer doesn't lie within the country itself. The answer lies within, right? And I think that's where the beautiful journey comes in, and also why my book Travel to Transform, because it's not just about the places I've been to and the cultural lessons I share with you. It's actually about how we bring that outward journey of having this beautiful outside world that we can explore, and having this beautiful inside world that we all have this holistic mind, body, and spirit. And how we put these two well coincide or collide together to accelerate our own personal growth, that's the most beautiful about the life journey itself. Because the answer doesn't lie at the outside, it's always inside. But this beautiful world and traveling does offer us the most fast track and ultimate tool to personal development. So what happened, continuing the story, when I finally understand we are way more than just a meat body, I become a biohacker, as you say, and you probably know me and very active in some of the biohacking community. And for the listeners who haven't heard of biohacking, it means we are using the art and science of understanding our own individual biology and optimize our health and well-being and our performance. And it has been such a fruitful journey, because when I shift that mindset, understanding, you know what, we have the absolute power to control and nourish our well-being, my whole paradigm shift, because I become so much more conscious about the things that I eat, about the diet I can try. And for the record, right, when I speak from a place where now people see me as a biohacker, as the Shaolin martial artist, as the lucid dreamer, people see my health transform, and they thought, oh, because you're young, you're energetic, you're at that place, right? But no, I actually never come from that. I was sick. I couldn't sleep. I had nightmare. And I was diagnosed by doctors from multiple countries, medical expert, to say I have CFS, which is chronic fatigue syndrome. And there's no medical solution for that. But until when I make that shift and understanding you and I as global citizens, we do have power to control and to choose what we eat, when we sleep, how we rest, how we can show ourselves with more self-love and self-care. And all this leads to powerful tools, transform everyone's health and well-being once you're conscious with it. And at my journey at that time, for the record, I used to eat pasta 3 times a day, and I drink 2 cups of bubble teas because I'm Asian. And I love having that, that sugar spike, and that was my diet. And I came from that. From the next day, I'm just trying to eat a bit more healthy, so I start preparing meal by myself. The next thing I know, I start learning, reading more scientific journal as well on what kind of diet we can experiment, right? Because it's not about whether you want to eat vegan or carnivore or paleo or whatever diet you're on, but it's a lifestyle of being conscious of how we can be in tune with our body. And that is where the body's upgrade for myself, or we can say the health transformation comes in on my travel journey, which is, in the last 2 years that helped me to become the biohacker myself. And I'm sharing this message with everyone, with every global citizen. It's because don't wait for that time bomb explode, right? We are all living in a world that we are told you are a civilized person, so go into the supermarket and buy and eat whatever you want, right? And we are told you can snack all the time whenever you are hungry. And in fact, right, like that is exactly the opposite of food freedom. That is exactly the opposite of self-discipline, right? And I learned that through the hard way, because I was I was lying on bed. I couldn't get out of my bed at my 20s, and I was freaking out because I thought I have so much more I can do in my life, but I couldn't. And I never thought about the little decision I make for my lifestyle actually changes everything I could do, right? And having a healthy, mental well-being and the body, it optimizes our productivity and performance as well, right? We stress less and we achieve more. And
100%.
And it's right, and it optimizes not just about health, but health is like the pillar of everything we're doing in life, including our career, our finance, our personal project, our relationship, right? Our spiritual development, our intellectual development, right? And that is so essential, because most people thought we just go for a job 9 to 6 and then go back home, energy deplete, have our big meal dinner and then energy punch, watch some Netflix and go to bed and repeat the cycle, right? That was my life as well. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not having any judgment here, but I am showing this possibility of that as modern global citizen, there are actually way more we can do through personal mastery, right?
I love
regardless,
this.
yeah.
I love this, because what I'm hearing there is as well, and what the message at the end is for everybody to take away from here is, don't wait for that big blow. Don't wait for that time to be at your lowest point. But what I've seen is a lot of people make that change only when the problem becomes big. right? When the
Yeah.
challenge is huge, when there is no way out, that's the only time the realization happens. That's the only time the pivot happens, because the pain pressure has to be huge for somebody to take steps. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but what you and I are trying to tell everybody here is, don't wait for that, right? Maybe sit down one day
Absolutely.
and look at your habits, look at your routine, look at what you're doing, and see where is this leading to, right? I mean, because I love driving, I always bring up cars in metaphors and analogies, right? So it's a bit like driving a car. So your car is as good as you look after it, right? If you are just driving it and revving it and speed spray and whatever you're trying to do with it, what do you think the lifespan of that car would be, right? It's not going to last. Maybe if it was meant to last you 10, 20 years, now it's going to only last you 5, 6 years because it's been used properly, right? It's been used excessively. It's been used, full speed or whatever, full engine and all that stuff. But if you were looking after that car in terms of you knew the journey from A to B, how far it is, what needs to be done. Yeah, we understand the traffic and all that stuff. Sometimes you need to be rushing, sometimes, but you knew that this is your car that is going to take you from A to B for the next 20 years. You are going to look after that car for the next 20, make sure that it stays with you until the car gives up itself, right? And that's what I was thinking of. And when it comes to ourselves, we don't think of these things. There's nothing wrong with everybody as well. It's what's been handed down to us from society, from peers. That's the model which gets shown to you as a young person. Like, oh, this is what you need to do. This is the next step. This is it. And I love that what your pivotal moments came through those travel, being the global citizen and connecting with other global citizens. That biohacking and changing your dietary habits would have not happened if you hadn't done all these traveling, if you haven't done, I would say, connected with all these other global citizens. And this is where I think, it opened up your mind to explore other options, to see how can you get better at what you are doing. So I think we were losing it, or you're back.
That's
so
why I think it's always...
Yeah, that's that,
Oh,
and I love that for you. Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you. So talking about your book, because we've got a last 10, 20 minutes left here now. So talking about your book, which is an amazing book, by the way, and it's #1 seller on Amazon already. I think it was in after a few hours of being released. It was such an amazing thing because I was looking as well. I was like, wow. It's becoming that. I'm sure there'll come a moment that it's sold out and you have to order some more prints. So it's an amazing book. I'll recommend 100% people who are tuning into this talk to go and check it out, at least on Amazon. There's an ebook version, there's a printed version, whichever you fancy is there. And I believe they can find the link on your profiles, right? So if they can go onto it and they'll be directed to it, right?
Yeah, definitely. So my website is also the same as the book title. So www.traveltotransform.com. So yeah, you'll be able to find me there. And yeah, thank you so much for the kind words. Absolutely. I was over the moon myself as well when I saw on the first day it hit 3 best-selling title on Amazon's, and then within the first week, it has 7 already. And I just, what makes me happiest the most is to see all the readers' review as well, because I keep receiving messages, especially over Christmas and New Year, that, people are already reading the book and then they resonate with the message so much. And I knew, this is nothing really mind-blowing. It's not something you are going to, shift the whole world in all of a second. Nothing like that. But writing that message to able to show up and to stand up for what we believe in cultural diversity and also in personal mastery are actually the way to go to make this world a better place. That, I think that really resonates with people, because if you think about it, technology itself is not going to solve human crisis, because what's lacking is the human consciousness, right? I always say, the world is already globalized, the technology are globalized, but human consciousness and human understanding aren't. And that's why I think this book is resonating with people so much, because we never get it taught in school how important it is, right? And we have all the cultural lessons, we have all the cultural textbook, and that's what my book says as well. Like I wrote in my book, we are not lacking of that academic training. We are lacking of awakening, right?
I love that. I
And
love
again,
that.
yeah, exactly. And so tourist guidebooks, right? They help us to be amazing tourists, but not world citizen. And at the same time, there are thousands of self-help book out there. But I never truly believe you can hand how to guide to another person and ask them to follow it step by step and expect your life turn out exactly the same way the book says, right? I never believe in that. And that's why I think what I've written as my transformation story with the book is how I can combine this transformation story with the self-help element in it, right? Because you don't need any person to tell you what to do. And in fact, when we first started this call, when you talk about backpacking, right? Backpacking is only one way to travel that I have chosen in my life. And I have chosen, cultural exchange. I've chosen to study abroad. I've chosen to travel with my business. I've chosen to work on as a position that I could relocate. But these are only my journey. And every global citizen, you have the power to choose your own as well. And that's the beauty of living in this globalized world, because my model of life doesn't necessarily fit you. But my book does show you the framework, and also it does show you the possibility of how you can fit your own global citizen journey into your own lifestyle, whatever personal circumstances you are in, whatever families or friends or relationship you have to maintain when you're traveling, right? And I think that's the key part, what I also call in the book, a concept called travel inspiration, which is a word that means inspiration to travel. Because when we are able to find your own travel inspiration, then we can incorporate this travel and transformation into our own lifestyle. And let me give you some concrete examples. So let's say if you are a aspire technology entrepreneur, right? Then maybe going to Silicon Valley for an internship could spark some idea for your next journey, right? Or let's say maybe you want to be the best Italian chef in your local city, right? Then maybe going to Italy for a working holiday for a summer and learn in the kitchen could equip you the skills, right? Or even
Definitely.
let's say let's say you love to work with children, you want to teach English, then going into Asia or whatever countries you are to be teaching English in local school could be your next step, right? And the reason I'm sharing this is because there's no step-by-step guide, but there are transformation and amazing global citizen stories we can all share with one another. And I've seen it for so many times. As I mentioned, I'm a certified life coach as well. As you would know, Zishan yourself,
Yes.
as one of the business coach with Mind Valley as well. We are on one of the most conscious and inspiring self-growth platform in the world. And the work we are doing, right, is that when I was working with my clients, when I'm working with other global citizens, I see the same story happening again and again and again and again, right? And there are people who are just maybe volunteering for any cause outside the country. Some people could be working on a cruise ship. Somebody would be just mountaineering, doing the most inspiring hike in the world, right? And there are all sorts of traveling, and there's no right or wrong. There's only an open-minded. That's our only a global mindset, and that's what's the most important part. Because at the end, it is your own journey. And what I'm sharing through this book with you is that I hope you will be able to see that same possibility outside our box, outside our comfort zone. Because that thriving life, that joyful, inspiring life, it actually is applicable to every single person, no matter where your starting point is, no matter what finance situation you are in, no matter what health condition you have. We are all the same as one global citizen, right? And we are all the same as global citizens.
I love that exactly. We are all the same as global citizens, and it's the case of what I'm hearing there is also the realization, and it's how the world likes to put everybody is one glove fits everybody, right? And that's
Mm,
not the case. Yeah, there are books out there, and I think it's just to get you to become a tourist, or that everything but you have to have your own path and journey. And again, yeah, as you said, there's no right or wrong way to start whatever you're trying to start. We are talking about travel here. It can be anything, right? So think of
exactly.
what is important to you, and you mentioned so many ways out there, being a chef, working holiday, and also so many things. But then again, it's what I'm also hearing is it's a case of deciding, right? You need to take that decision to step forward and take some actions to then create it. I'm a firm believer of if you're looking for a purpose, because a lot of people talk about purpose. I
Mm,
usually don't talk about purpose a lot, because for me, I created it, right? So I was looking around everywhere, and I always say to everybody, pandemic came to me as a blessing, because that's how I see it, because it
mm,
allowed me to expand, and it allowed me that time, because I was caught up, just like yourself, I was caught up to that corporate world and everything, routines and everything, and anything self-development, anything to be myself, when you get that time, you're like, oh, I should do this. Oh, I'm busy. You'll just use your working life as an excuse. And when people say, "Oh, life happens," yeah, I understand life happens, but life only happens because you're taking some decisions and steps for that life to happen, right? And what you do today is what's creating your future, right? So we won't
yeah.
worry about, because we are driven to worry about the future. Okay, yeah, that's correct. We need to know, how we're gonna be living, how we are gonna be, where are we gonna be, what we're gonna do tomorrow. But all that happens today. All of that we're
Mm,
gonna do tomorrow starts today. So if you take care of your today, now it's different to everybody. I'm not going to give anything what you should do, but whatever that is for you that you want to create tomorrow, you need to start today. And that's what it
yeah.
is. I mean, this is how Tuesday Talks started, because I was looking for people who were in similar situations, and and also I wanted to do speaking. So that was, so have these conversations and everything, because there
Mm,
was a lot of, when I started doing my self-development, obviously I was plugging into Mind Valley and Vision and everybody, but I was also, like as everybody do, they go onto YouTube, look for YouTube stuff. And what's happening on YouTube, they'll share some one glove fit all, and then here's my course. We're like, well,
yeah.
no, I don't want your course. I just want to understand what's happening, right? So then I will maybe buy your course if it was interesting enough. Yes, but I want more. I want you to, create that inspiration. So every time I was going around, plugging into these things, all I found was influencers just creating influence. We're like, oh, look,
Yeah.
this, be influenced by that. I was like, there's no inspiration for me to now, oh, I would love to create this. So, or I love to do this. I'll move forward with that. And hence the Tuesday Talks came around, is to create inspiration, not influences. So we are creating inspiration,
Beautiful.
not influence. And I'm a firm believer of, if you can't find anything and you're still looking for it, it's probably time for you to create it. That's why it's not there. And you're the
Yeah.
person who's going to create that, because it's in you now. Our body always tune in to your true north, right? So I always say your compass is always pointing to your true north, whatever that may
Mm,
be. So if there is something in your heart that comes up every time you're doing certain thing, that I should be doing this, or why isn't this in the world?
yeah.
And if you're looked for it and you can't find it, it's you who needs to create it. And that's
Yes.
the purpose. And this is the way you can tune into your being here, right? Or purpose, as people like to also look for it. And
Love
that's
it.
why I
I
said
really
it's
love you
today.
use the compass. Yeah, I really love you using the compass because that's exactly how I feel and how I find my journey as well. Because, it's our journey and we are all climbing a mountain per se, right? And we all need a map actually. And no
Mm,
one could draw that map for us because it's our own destination. And even like, so this is my book, right? And
there you
when you
go.
say about compass, this is what the hardcover I have at the back as well. It's exactly like you said. Because how I perceive it is you can't expect people to have the same one size fit all model, right? But there are awareness we can bring forth into our different areas of life, and at the end we create that global citizen identity and our thriving life ourselves, right? Because this is where the transformation comes in. And that's why I resonate with you a lot when you say the compass, because that's exactly my my principle as well. When I'm doing life coaching, I never tell my coachee what exactly to do, because I'm not here to solve your solution, but I'm bringing you the awareness to find a possibility for a new solution for yourself. And I love how you put that into what we're not finding a purpose, we're creating it. And I think that's a really beautiful state everyone can take back, because we are all taught we need to chase the next things, right? We're asked to climb the next ladder, and we all thought our purpose is to climb that ladder, is to buy that car, is to buy that big house, right? And when we have this, when we attain it, we then look for the next goal, and there's no end to it, right? Because what we are seeking is already here, and we are the one who are creating our purpose. Yeah, absolutely resonate with you.
I love this. I love this. So we will be wrapping this up. So as we wrap up this beautiful episode of Choose the Talks to kick off the year as well for 2023, what would you like to leave the audience with who are tuning in now live in Instagram, or will listen to this when it's replayed as a podcast? What would you like to leave them with as we wrap this up?
Beautiful question. I think what comes up at this moment as a wrap up is that I want to remind everyone that you are special, and you are living in a globalized age, nothing like before. We are having planes on the sky. We are having modern technology, cell phones. We can order any kind of world cuisine with a few taps with our fingers. We are special. You are special. And we are so special that sometimes we forgot that we are unique, that we forgot there's power in diversity. And what we are trying to do as we are born into this world, we try to be another person. We try to copy other successful person, to copy their successful model, to do their course, like you say. And we try to become another person that not who we authentically are. So that's why I want to remind you at this last moment that you are very special. You are one in the billion of this population on this planet. There's only one you. And if you could remember that, then we can all shift our mindset to remember we are that unique citizen of the world.
I love that.
This identity is going to make shifts in your life. You don't need to learn a new skills, learn a new language, take a new course. An identity shift, a mindset shift is all we need for any breakthrough in life.
I love that, and it's so beautifully said. And what resonates with me a lot now at the end as well is there's only one you. So your uniqueness of you needs to come out and outshine everything which is out there, right? Yeah, and I love that. Thank you very much, Freeman, for sharing such an amazing journey of yours, and some tips as well. For everybody who's been tuning in to this episode live on Instagram, thank you very much. And if this episode resonated with you or created that spark in you, now it's your duty to share this episode with whoever popped up in your mind or you think should be watching this, because we don't need to keep that spark moment or inspiration within us. It's our purpose also to now spread that inspiration with others, share it with others. So if you had any aha moments or inspiration, it's your duty now to share this episode with somebody else to tune in or tag them onto the episode, because we don't know who's woken up today or going to bed thinking of a better tomorrow or a better day. And if this episode's created some inspiration in you, it might just kickstart their journey as well into a transformation. So they might start travel to transform themselves as well. Who knows? So thank you very much, Freeman, for such an amazing journey and episode for this one here. I'll recommend everybody to check out the book. Go on and get it. It's an amazing book. I'm halfway through it at the moment because, I am reading it. You need to work on getting an audible version, Freeman, so we can for people who like to listen. So
Absolutely, that's my next year
that.
project.
Awesome.
I got a lot of requests on that. That will be my next year project.
There you go. So so we look forward to an audible version of it as well. But no, that's an amazing, and look forward to meeting you in Tallinn as well in a few months' time.
Definitely, I will see you in Tallinn again. And thank you so much, Zizan, for the space here, for the beautiful space and the beautiful voice. And thank you, everyone who is listening in, because you are a conscious global citizen. And thank you for just listening and sharing this message. Because, like Zizan said, you are the one in billions. You are unique. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everybody. And take care. Bye.
See ya.